What's going on, everyone? Happy Wednesday to everyone. Hopefully everyone is doing well, staying safe, healthy. If you had to take a COVID test, hopefully you have tested negative. If you did test positive for COVID, flu, RSV, or anything else, I hope you have a full and speedy recovery with no long COVID issues. It is time now for the Wednesday edition of the Pandemic Update for Wednesday, December 6th, 2023. Today we're doing an update from out in the wild. If you're new to my channel, welcome to my channel. This is where we do the daily pandemic update on not just COVID, but all kinds of viruses that may be a threat to your health. That's what we do here at Data Report. And today, we're doing it from out in the wild. Some days we do it from home in my office. Some days we do videos on about COVID in wastewater and other viruses in wastewater. Today is the pandemic update. Yes, COVID, because COVID is not over. If at the end of this video you learn anything, subscribe to my channel down below and give it a thumbs up as well. All right, we have several notes to bring to you today. First off, a rather important one. The former president of Poland, who is 80 years old, also was a Nobel Peace Prize winner, Lech Walesa, has tested positive for COVID. But unlike other cases that we have reported on recently, in this case, he has actually been hospitalized because his case has turned severe. So see, the pandemic's not over. Severe cases of COVID, they do still happen. You're probably saying, well, he is 80 years old. No, any age of person, someone can be perfectly healthy, and COVID can really hit you hard, and you can still be hospitalized. Now, someone who has not been hospitalized with COVID, but tested positive for COVID, that would be Piers Morgan. You know, the TV personality who does news-related programming, prime time, I guess I should say. Piers Morgan has tested positive for COVID. All right, coming to some data here in the United States. First off, Philadelphia, my city. EMS calls, they were slightly lower today. 737 EMS incidents reported for Tuesday. That's the total. Then, crossing the river over to New Jersey, 607 people in the hospital. Then, continuing up the New Jersey Turnpike, crossing the Hudson River in one of the Hudson River crossings, and we find ourselves in New York State. New York State reports 1,916 cases of COVID, and hospitalizations, 1,605. That's 6 more than yesterday's 1,599. So yes, hospitalizations continue to rise in New York. Now going across the country a little ways to Yellowstone. You know where Yellowstone National Park is? Well, that county is reporting an increase in COVID cases at this time, which that is not good to see. It's pretty much a sign of the times. First off, out in the wild today, what am I seeing? I've been seeing a ton of ambulances today. I've been busy all day. That's why we're doing an out in the wild update. I feel I don't have enough time to go home and come back out. That's how I would have to do it. So here we are. And yes, I've been seeing a ton of ambulances today. I also saw there was an ambulance. There was a vehicle in front of the ambulance. So, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. Just stopped their vehicle. Literally just stopped right in front of the ambulance. Don't do that, please. If you see an ambulance coming, pull over to the side of the road, whether it be to the right or to the left, whatever you have to do, get out of their way because they are in the middle of emergency. The only time an ambulance should ever have to be blocked is when they're hitting a railroad crossing and there's a train coming. That's really about the only instance that I can think of. Maybe there's some other rare circumstances, but they should not have to be blocked because you are blocking their way in the road. If you can move over, get out of the way. All right, something else. Yesterday we talked about how, in some cases, numbers are not as high as they were last year. Well, you know what? There are several things that come to my mind. There were some comments that were left to me, and I started thinking about that. There's several reasons why numbers could not be as high as last year. What is down significantly from last year? We all know it. Testing. Testing is not as high as it was last year. Testing is much lower. And then you come to the hospital situation. It's the whole, why are they hospitalized because of COVID? Or was it because of something else? With or without? Oh, well, they fell down. Why are you counting them as COVID? I mean, I get they're positive, but that's not why they're in the hospital. Doesn't work that way. Let's think about it. Let me lay out a scenario to you. COVID, one of its symptoms, dizziness. What can happen when you're dizzy and you're trying to do something? Say you get up out of bed and you're dizzy. You could fall down. Say you're positive for COVID. You get dizzy. You get up out of bed. You fall down. Then you break a bone or something. Well, you know what? You fell down because COVID made you dizzy and it made you fall down. Now you're going to the hospital. And they're not only going to treat you for that, they're also going to treat you for your COVID symptoms as well. So guess what? Yes, you count as someone occupying a bed in the hospital for COVID. You wouldn't have fallen down if COVID didn't make you dizzy. So yes, COVID, and that's just one example. There are many different examples. Also, we have to talk about this. Okay, yes, numbers may be lower than last year. The risk of you getting infected is still higher. What comes when you have a risk of getting infected, especially, and this is more so what I'm leaning towards, if you had COVID last year, maybe you've had it multiple times before, each time you test positive for COVID, your risk of long COVID goes up. Your risk of severe COVID goes up, even just moderate COVID. Maybe last go around you had COVID, you were asymptomatic. Okay, this time you tested positive and, whoa, hey, I'm having symptoms. Things are not the same. Oh, wait a second. I had COVID last time and I was fine. I didn't think I would be sick this time. I just thought I was immune to it. Well, I was not sick last time. It was asymptomatic, so I just assumed, well, that's what it is. If I get it again, that's how it is for me. Nope. It hits everyone differently. It can hit everyone differently each time. And yes, there are some people that each time they get hit the exact same way. They don't get anything more severe. That's the way COVID works. It's very random. It's very unpredictable. That's why you should not have the mindset where you're thinking, well, you know, I tested positive last time. I was fine. I'll be fine next time. Don't think that way. Think that, hey, if I go out there and I catch COVID, you know, it could hit me hard, or I could pass it on to someone else, and they could end up with a severe case. It's very random. You could be fine one time, and next time you could test positive, and you end up in the hospital. Trust me. I know someone. I have a friend up in New York State. He tested positive for COVID at the beginning of the pandemic. He was an operator, New York City subways. He was a train operator. Fine the first time. Second go around with COVID, he went to, this was a couple years ago, he went to the ER, or was it urgent care, and they said, get to the hospital immediately. Your O2 saturation is dangerously low. And it was. He had trouble breathing. He had to go on a ventilator. Even though the first time he had little to no symptoms. See where I'm coming from here? And there are studies. There are some studies on my website, datareport.info, where you can check out this stuff. There's also studies prior to when my website started. It's only a year old. One of these days we'll get around to adding some older studies, you know, that were released in the beginning of the pandemic, or maybe the second year of the pandemic, that, you know, talk about these things that maybe you have forgotten. And my big problem with a lot of these studies are they're peer-reviewed. They don't get enough attention. We don't see the news talk enough about the risk of a COVID infection. A lot of times, some really great peer-reviewed studies come out, and there's just so much other news out there that it just never gets attention, or they just don't bother to include it because, as we all know, the life and blood of the economy would be destroyed. I'm sitting right next to the economy right now. I'm sitting in the mall parking lot. If they went out and told all the different things COVID could do, all these different studies, places like this mall right here in Willow Grove, Pennsylvania, would probably lose a few customers, because some people, maybe not all people, would like, ooh, I don't want to go out there. I might go and catch COVID. So, I mean, it is what it is, but quite frankly, I think that's what it needs to be, because we need to get transmission down. We can't have we can't go round and around on the merry-go-round. There's a merry-go-round here at the mall. We can't keep spinning around on that merry-go-round, going through this each and every fall, winter, summer, spring. Although this year did not have a spring wave, we had a summer wave. I get it. It's normal to have waves in the wintertime. But when you're talking about a virus that can cause a wave at any given time of the year, every time a new variant comes on that can outsmart the other variants, remember, each new variant, in order for it to succeed and become big, it has to outsmart the previous variant. And yet COVID just keeps doing that. We're now on BA 2.86, which is a heavily mutated variant. And then there's that JN.1, which is an offshoot of BA 2.86 that is coming our way. It's outsmarting the old EG.5s, the XBBs, because that's what it needs to do to succeed. And why does it do that? How is it able to do that? Transmission. Transmission just keeps happening. So maybe if the news could wake up, maybe talk about some of these studies that say, hey, each time you catch COVID, the risk of you getting a severe case or a long-term problem is higher. Maybe it would make people more aware. Maybe they would wear a mask more frequently, and we wouldn't have to go around and around on this merry-go-round anymore. Alrighty, folks, that's what I have for you today. We'll have another pandemic update tomorrow. I don't know if it's going to be a data-filled one at home or another out here in the wild update. If you have to venture out into the wild today, by all means, do it safely. Continue to wear a mask. Continue to use hand sanitizer for your hands. There's other viruses out there, such as norovirus, that spreads on surfaces. But as we know for the COVID virus, and also other respiratory virus, your best defense is wearing an N95 or better mask. Please don't wear a surgical mask or cloth mask. I know, these masks can be expensive, but if you can afford to wear a high-quality mask, please get some high-quality masks and do so. Alrighty, folks, that's all I have for you today. I will see you all again next time. However, until I see you again next time, you need to do just a few things for me. Thumbs up if you like the video. Subscribe if you like this content and are new to the channel. Share this with anyone who you know that needs to see this content. And, of course, if you have anything that you want to say, maybe you want to comment on something I said, or you have a thought, or maybe you want to bring something to my attention, comment about it down below. And, of course, the most important thing that you need to do until I see you again tomorrow is stay safe, everyone, and have a fantastic afternoon. Thanks for watching. Take care. Bye-bye, guys.